Hey and welcome. Brink-Castleberry here with JustAskKim.com, and today I'd like to take a look at one of my favorite and one of my top 10 WordPress plugins of all time, and that is In One Webmaster. Now, once we start digging into this plugin, it may feel a little overwhelming, but In One Webmaster is a plugin that brings together a whole bunch of other plugins that you would normally have to learn and put them into a real straightforward and real simple interface, and saves you from having to put code into your theme, and saves you from having to add all these tags up into your theme code and mess with the editor and do stuff that gives most people the heebie-jeebies. Okay, you're really going to love this plugin, even though it's going to take a little time to get it fully set up. Now, generally, when a new blogger starts blogging, one of the first things that they hear that they need to set up is Google Analytics. And when they're ready to set up Google Analytics, which really should be as they're getting started, Google Analytics isn't something you should procrastinate on too long, it's an important thing, then they start looking for a WordPress plugin to handle just Google Analytics. And you can do that. You can have a dedicated Google Analytics plugin. Sometimes there are advantages to that, but generally speaking, it's better to work with a plugin like this that lets you bring in all the sites that you need to work with. Google Analytics, Google Webmaster Tools, Yahoo Site Explorer, MSN Bing Tools. The list goes on. Alexa, which you need to be validated with. There's a whole list of sites that this helps make getting connected to them more straightforward. And getting connected to them is important to your SEO. It's important to your overall site management. It's important to the blog's quality of health, because when it comes to things like Google Webmaster Tools, that is Google's first way to be able to notify you if they ever detect that you've been hacked. And it's an account that if you ever are hacked and have had an infection, that you will then have to set up and go into and, do all the fiddling then when you're already panicking and try to get reapproved to be re-added to the search engines. Whereas if we do all of this ahead of time, and you get all the additional search tools in there, you get all the additional keyword tools that are in there, you're going to get all kinds of additional stuff by setting these up. Things like validating with Alexa, you're going to get additional stats, you're going to get better tracking, you're going to get a whole lot of additional stuff because we're going to set all these up. And so, though it can feel overwhelming, like I said, at the same time, block some time out and let's sit together and let's go through how to set up this plugin. So I'm going to come over to a site I'm working on. It is actually a site I have, and I'm in its dashboard, and I'm going to scroll down to plugins. Now, I will note that there is a premium version of this plugin. Generally speaking, for the average blogger, there really is not a need to upgrade. However, the upgrade is pretty darn affordable. The coder does a very good job of taking care of the plugin itself, and I really trust that. And if it has features that you need, it definitely might be something you'll look into. However, we're only going to look at the free version today because that's what most people need. So let's do In One Webmaster. You probably could get it by just typing in Webmaster. And here it comes up. Oh, it didn't have hyphens in it, but we found it anyways. Okay, and it's by Arpit Shah, and we're going to choose Install Now. And you can see that's a 5-star plugin, and that's for very good reason. Just all the way around in terms of both feature set, in terms of stability, in terms of compatibility with the most number of themes, in terms of just a high percentage of things. Okay, so now we see that we have it installed, and we're going to come down again to Settings, and under Settings we're going to come to In One Webmaster. Now, this looks like an ugly bunch of red code, but the red stuff's kind of important, so let me show you what's going on. There's really no error here. The red stuff is just to make sure that your eyes understand which pieces are important. Now, this plugin gives us a field box to get the codes from Google Webmaster, from Bing Webmaster, Yahoo Site Explorers, Alexa, Blog Catalog, Facebook Insights, additional Google Analytics, Quantcast, Clicky, Compete, SiteMaster, as well as put additional codes in the header and footer if we don't want to edit our theme. Really, really powerful plugin, because now you can do all this setup without editing the theme at all, without going into that editor. No more messing with ugly code, all right? So let me show you how this works. Let me scroll up here just a bit. We're going to start with Google Webmaster Central. And here we have a field box where we're going to put in information. And when we go to that website via this blue button, the blue button is going to take us where we want to go. We're going to go to the place in there to verify our site. And we're going to get some HTML code. And in the HTML code, it's going to say meta name equals Google site verification, content equals, open quote, this string right here. And when we see our version of that string right there, we're going to copy that. And we're going to copy it and we're going to bring it here and we're going to paste it in the box. Now, normally you would have to put the whole chunk of code that they give you into your theme. But now you only have to put this block of code, or not even this block of code, just this string of numbers into this box and then come down and click update. Okay, we have to do that. It's a little different on each of these sites how you get that information, but we're going to go through these one by one. So let's work through this. We're going to start by clicking on the blue button, and I'm going to open it in a new tab so that we can go out to Google Webmaster Central. All right, now here we are in the Google Webmaster Central homepage, and what we're going to do is we're going to sign in with our existing Google account. If you don't already have an account, you're going to need to set one up. You would need it for Google Analytics anyways, but in this particular case, you want to ensure that it's actually an account that you use or that you at least forward to another address, because like I mentioned prior, this is your first line of defense. So should something ever happen with your website and Google need to get in touch with you. It is also your first line of defense when you get in touch with them when you've repaired things that went wrong. So let's come down. You're going to sign in and you probably won't have much going on here, but you're going to click add a site. And here we're going to type in the URL. Be sure to give it the root domain and not just a page name when we first set this up. And click continue. And here on this next page, it asks us to verify the ownership. And so what we want to do is, here's that meta, that Google site verification content equals, here's that string of numbers I told you about. We're going to right click and copy that. And we're going to come back to our site and we're going to paste that in the box. Okay, so remember this code told us that we needed what was in red. So we got our copy of what is in red. We paste it in there. We scroll down and we click update options. Now I'm going to come back. And if I'd had a caching tool running, if I'd had W3 Total Cache or Super Cache or one of those running, I would have needed to clear the cache before I need to make the next step. In fact, I actually recommend that you disable your caching plugin while we're doing this setup, or it's going to drive you nuts. So let's come on down and we're going to click on Verify Now. And that's all going to come through, and it's going to look like this, and this is your dashboard. And so here there will eventually be quite a bit of data. Let me show you what it looks like when you've got a site that's pretty established. So here is the dashboard for my main site, and you can just see I've got queries, I've got links to my domain, I've got crawl errors that I've got a couple that I've got to fix again, keywords, site maps, I've got several going on there. Under site configurations, there's a lot of stuff that you can adjust and affect. And your site on the web is actually a really big collective of useful information. And here you'll find like search queries, which will be really useful. This tells you how your blog is being found on the web, number of impressions, the percent change, the click-through rate, things like that. And, you know, whether you are moving up or down for a term, whether you're being found for those terms. And this is a really important part of data and really can tell you if the targeting you're doing on certain keywords is panning out into actual results. So this will be stuff you'll come back to once you've had time to let it collect some data, because it's got to collect data. You also have diagnostics, and you have, you know, places you can fix stuff, and you have a lot of other stuff going on there. Now let's come back to the front, and under the domain name itself, I come over to the right. You notice that it says manage rather than verify this site. If it said verify this site, it would say that my verification didn't work, so I would need to figure out what happened. But my verification worked, but I have a drop down, and I can either add owners or I can link the Google Analytics profile. Now, I don't want to start here, because if I start here, it's going to create it in a kind of an odd spot in my Google Analytics account. I don't quite know why it does that. But I'm going to go into my Google Analytics account in another tab, and then we're going to come back and we're going to connect these two so that they talk, all right? So here I am in my Google Analytics account, and we're cruising right along. We've already set up Google Webmaster, and we're going to set up Google Analytics. I sign in with my Google ID. And here you see we're inside. I'm going to click on my main profile. And here you see where inside we see an overview of all accounts. Now actually though, you see that domain here by itself, I actually can't get rid of it, it's unlinked. And that happened when I tried to connect them manually the first time. And so you got to, or not manually, I tried to let it auto create the account. But let's not do that. I don't need a separate Google Analytics account for the site itself. It is connected to everything else I'm doing. So I'm going to go in my main profile. You probably only have one link there. You probably won't see two unless you've made the same thing I just did. So we're in here now. We're under my account. It's Just Ask Kim. That's just my account name rather than being from my blog. And I have lots of different pages. I have pages for different URLs, different sites. Several sites that are gone that I need to take out of there. You see, then, you know, I got pages like this that are up. You know, I just come across, and so, you know, I got all kinds of stuff in here. But what you want to do is you want to come down to the bottom and click Add Website Profile. And here you want to add a profile for a new domain, and you want to put in the domain name and your time zone, your state. Finish. And here we have a big nice yellow box at the top that tells us our web ID, or our UA ID, our web property ID. We also can find it in the script down towards the bottom of the page in the code. It's right there. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to come back to Google Webmaster, All-in-One Webmaster. There I go again, man. I may figure this out by the end of the video, maybe. So I'm at Google Analytics. I'm going to paste that code in. I'm going to come down and click Update Options. There I've updated options. Again, clear your cache if you've got that thing going on. We're going to click Save and Finish. And what that's going to do is that's going to come up. I've got to go all the way to the end here. That is going to come up, well, not on that page apparently. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. With the little diamond that says that the tracking isn't yet read, but the tracking is set up because we use the code. It sometimes takes a little while to get it verified. And so what you want to do is, you know, come back in about 24 to 48 hours and ensure that this is no longer a caution symbol. Ensure that it has moved to something like this green check mark for receiving data. And once you've moved to that, you know that it's good to go. And so as long as you've got that little UA number in there and no extra characters, you're all set. And so I can come back. Now that I've added that, now I'm going to come back to Webmaster Tools just to do this real quick. You don't have to, but it makes life a little easier. And I'm going to click Google Analytics Profile. And here I see all my Google Analytics accounts, and I find the one that belongs to this domain. Okay, I see which account it's under, belongs to this domain, and click Save. When I do that, it's going to link these so that they now are associated within the system. Doesn't do a whole lot for me right out of the gate, but go ahead and do it just to get it done. All right, that is how you get the first two set up. And so when we come back to the All-in-One Webmaster, you see we're making some progress. We got 2 down. We're going to do a couple more of these. We aren't going to do all of them, but we're going to do a couple more of these. And so let's start back in with Bing Webmaster. Now to visit Bing Webmaster Central, we're going to click again on the little blue dot. I'm going to let it open in a new tab. And here we see that we are at Bing Webmaster Tools. And what you're going to do is you're going to need to sign in. And so we're going to click on the Sign In to use Webmaster Tools. And here it's going to ask for your Windows Live ID. If you don't already have one set up, you're going to need to create one. Again, you're really going to want it to be someplace that connects somewhere useful or that is redirected to somewhere useful for you. However, at the same time, you might not spend as much time in here as you do in the Google Webmaster Tools. But go ahead and get this set up. So you're going to want to enter your Live ID here. Click Remember Me or Remember My Password if you want to do either. And now that I'm here under Sites, I'm going to click Add Site. And here we're going to put in the URL. And I'm going to click Submit. There it comes up. And we're going to have a couple things. We can either place the XML or copy and paste the tag. We're going to click Copy and Paste the tag. The tag opens up and we see Meta MS Validate Content equals number. There's our number. Right click Copy. Got my number. Woot! Okay, come back to the All-in-One Webmaster. I'm having a little fun here. Come back, find my field, paste it in. Okay, we got our number. You please, sir, take a number. I'll take that one. Okay, so we got that in there. We're going to come back here. We're going to click verify. Again, this is another case where the verification is not always instantaneous. I actually saw it in the dashboard before it resolved. It's coming into the dashboard here. And newly added sites will begin showing data within 3 days. Okay, so it's going to be 3 days before you have any data here. But you're also going to want to come back to the home, and you're going to see here that the stuff here isn't showing, but at the same time it doesn't say click here to verify now. So that means that your verification went. And then later you can just click on this link and you come back and you'll have lots of data here. Good stuff, free data, free stuff that you don't need to run scripts on your host and let it clog up your blog server in order to get all kinds of data and traffic data and all kinds of stats about your blog. When you go installing stats tracking stuff for unique plugins, like some of these stats plugins for your blog itself that aren't these and aren't this, you really run the risk of really just mucking up your database, and so I don't recommend you do it. So we got that. Let's come back. Next one is Yahoo Site Explorer. I'm going to open that in a new tab. I'm going to come out to Yahoo Site Explorer, and here we're going to need to sign in. All right, once you're in the door, if you have other accounts, you're going to see them here. You're going to see a list, but you're also going to see a field up here that you can put a new domain name in, and so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to click Add Site, and this is going to bring us, by now I'm sure you're familiar with the drill. We're going to get the Add a Meta Tag, and we're going to get the content number out of there, copy, bring it back, put it in Yahoo Site Explorer, paste, come down, update options, clear your cache if you got it going on, click Ready to Authenticate. Okay, mine actually came back pretty instantaneous after I double checked it, but at the same time, it can take up to 24 hours for this one to authenticate. In fact, I generally find Yahoo to be one of the slowest to authenticate, and so if it doesn't authenticate right away, don't assume your tags are bad or your number was copy and pasted wrong until you've gone about 48 hours. If it goes over that, you might have a copy paste error, you might have something else going on, but it can take that long. Like I said, mine just went ahead and came through just fine. I see a green status for authenticated. That's what we want to see. And so that is what you need for Yahoo. Let's close this, come back. Next one is Alexa. I'm going to click to open Alexa. And here we are on Alexa's page. We're going to log in. You're going to need to create a new login here. And I honestly do not connect with Facebook for this, for the reason being, as I do not on many important sites, many of my important social media sites, I will not connect with Facebook because Facebook is prone to banning a marketer's account. And that means that when that's banned, that user login no longer works, and so I could lose access to all kinds of stuff if I had it connected to that. So for really important stuff, I just don't do that. See if I can type though. So I'm going to sign in, and now that I'm signed in, I have a number of things going on here, but this dashboard is just really cluttery. A lot of people don't understand right off the bat what's going on here, and it's because they laid it out confusing. Okay, so don't think that this is your fault here. I'm going to click on my profile, and once I'm in my profile, that was my username in the corner, and I click on my profile, and I'm going to click Add Site, and under Add Site, I'm going to put in the domain name and click Claim My Site. And here again, I've got some code. Looks familiar, right? Meta name, Alexa, verify. Man, that's little tiny font. Copy, paste what you need. Copy, copy. Bring it out here, paste it in. Update options. Clear your cache. Come back to Alexa. Click verify my meta tag. Give it a second to verify. It's been verified. This one's usually instantaneous, okay? And so from there, the next thing, I mean, if you want to do, there's a number of other options, but I don't generally, do much with them. Come back to See Sites, and here you can go to things like Edit Info, Site Info, Reviews, and Get Widget. And when you want the widget for your sidebar or the script to run later, and I really suggest running the widget somewhere, regardless of where you're running it, whether you're embedding the code or whether you're putting it in the footer, whatever you're doing, I really suggest having the widget somewhere on your site, because that is the script that is the counter that tells Alexa how many people have visited. And since most of your people that visit your site will not have the Google toolbar or Alexa toolbar running, that ensures that you get a real number. And that is part of how higher scoring bloggers have higher scoring blogs. One, they have really great traffic, but two, they also are using the widget so that they make sure that it all gets counted. Okay, and if I come back and I just want to come, usually I actually come back to the front. And so here on this page, if I click on Site Info, this is going to take me to the actual page for my site. And this is where my stats will start showing up and where I see my ranking and, you know, where I see there's no data available yet. Of course, it's much too soon. Much too soon to say, but, you know, I see an initial rank, which is, you know, it's not a brand new site, so just first time getting it in here. And I'll see a lot more data as these fill out over time. And I also, as I come through here, some of this, I don't see it at the moment. It's probably because there's no data. Some of this, to get the extended data, they will ask you to run the Alexa little plug-in for your browser. Now, in the case of Firefox, that is the Alexa Sparky. Let me pull him up here. It's a Firefox add-on. You see Alexa running here, a little tool graph, and the little number. Now, it asks me if I want to add Alexa to like Google stuff, and I don't approve that. But I let this run here, and this tells me anytime I bounce to a new site, let's say I just go to a random site, what its Alexa ranking is. Here I am on the site I'm working on, and I can instantly see the Alexa. I can come back to YouTube, and I can see that YouTube is Alexa number 3. So there's nothing wrong with the little browser plugin, and it gives you access to extended data, and that's always a good thing. So now you are verified with Alexa. Be sure to go ahead and put a widget in place if you got a chance, okay? I mean, if you care at all. If you don't care, it's not a big deal. But if you care at all, then you're going to want to get the widget in place somewhere, or the script in place somewhere, so that you get credit for those. All right, now we come back, and we are back in the All-in-One Webmaster again. Now that we've set up Alexa, let's scroll on down. And I'm going to skip over Blog Catalog because I want to take some time and go ahead and look at Facebook Insights real quick. Now, Blog Catalog, Quantcast, Clicky, Compete, Site Meter, all of these are optional things you can set up. These additional free analytics accounts are really useful, and I really suggest that you go ahead and do them. And if you're a blogger and the domain that you're setting up is also a blog, then I would suggest go ahead and setting up Blog Catalog as well. They email more than they should, and I really don't appreciate that. But at the same time, you might want to be listed there if you're making use of the site. But definitely we want to be sure that we set up Facebook Insights as well. There is a tutorial link here for this one because it's a little different than the others. But let me go ahead and show you. I'm going to click this to come into Facebook. If I was not already signed in, I would need to sign in again. And I'm at facebook.com/insights. Now, rather than create a page or create an app, we have a link that says Insights for your website. And we're going to click on this, and again, we're going to put in the domain. You can do this in your sleep by now, right? Okay, so in this drop-down, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to select your profile where it says you, because that's the one that's going to give you FB admins, which is what you need. And you're going to get this code out of here. I'm going to put it over here. I'm just putting it in a notepad file real quick so I can copy it out because it wants me to copy the whole thing. Now I'm going to come back here. I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to click Update Options. I'm going to click Get Insights. And it's going to think a second while it looks at the blog. And it says you now have access to the insights for this page. And so what I have here is the insights are all connected, and it's really lovely that way. This will give us additional data over time relative to the Facebook activity around this page, relative to like the number of likes, the number of shares, whether our Facebook growth for our blog is actually, whether we are moving forward, whether we're making good use of the traffic potential, whether we are, the blog is helping Facebook, Facebook is helping the blog, whether we're going back and forth the way we should, or if we have a bottleneck somewhere. You're going to see a lot of data that'll fill in here over time. And so that is how you set up that one. And the other thing you may have is that over time you may have scripts that ask you to add them to the head or the foot of the blog. And now rather than having to edit the theme, you can just put the scripts themselves in these boxes. Now, the truth is that all of this stuff, by using its full scripts, can be easily added to Thesis without using this plugin. but I'll tell you that the box is cumbersome and really hard for the average user to not like overwrite something because it's a little bitty box. You know, look in this little thing and keep track of the whole block of code. So oftentimes I even have my students that are using Thesis set up this plugin, even though it's not as needed, because you know they have the theme option to set it up there, because it's so much easier to use. Now, over time, when your blog gets really, really popular and when you're having to start stripping out plugins that can be replaced by code, and when you're taking the time to move from plugins to code in your theme, this might be a plugin to shift away from in the future. I've done that with my primary blog. I'm Alexa, about 25, 26K at the moment. I have a lot of traffic and a lot of site load. I have a site that loads a little sluggish, and so I'm always looking to get rid of plugins. I'm always looking at any time I can move, I can take the time to put the code into the theme. But for the average blogger is, not using too many plugins. The average blogger is only using a few. They're using a lightweight theme. They're just having a little fun. They're not getting a ton of traffic. They're not doing the things that make the blog resource intensive. And so this plugin is a great place to start. This plugin will get you off and rolling. You're already registered, and at a later point in time, you can come back and you can look at all the data in these sites. You can have all these numbers. It's such a much healthier alternative to running, other stats tracking kind of stuff that, stats data was not meant to live in your database. Okay, WordPress was not designed that way, and you can create some really bloated databases that won't back up properly and will be just a pain to really, to move hosts and things later. And so by setting this up, you get the best influx of data. You get the best influx of information from sites that you wouldn't get otherwise, and you get different companies' perspective on how your site is doing, all while not having to tinker in the code. And I really think that that's a really important component. So the All-in-One Webmaster is definitely one of my top 10 plugins. I really suggest that you take the time to sit down and install this one. I know it can feel a little hairy at times. I really do. I understand that. But that's why I wanted to put together this video, and I hope that it helped you understand, really the flow and how you move through these sites and where you find your code and where stuff is. Now, granted, this video could become partially out of date as sites change, but at the moment it's all current, and the flow is always going to be the same. You're looking for that content equals number. You're looking for that ID string that we're going to put in these boxes and makes this all work. With this, you've got a lot of power on your hands, a lot of data coming in, and I know that you're going to love this WordPress plugin. All right, Brink-Castleberry here with Just Ask Kim, and I look forward to your comments, questions, thoughts, and other WordPress plugins that you're enjoying for similar purposes, or any experiences that you've had with this plugin as well. All right, I'll talk to you soon.